I'm excited to share with you a powerful screenshot tool that does way more than just take a static snapshot of your screen. Let me share with you how Markup Hero can improve your productivity, enhance your lessons, and even create a collaborative workspace for you and your students. Let's check it out. So to get started, you're going to grab the link in the description below and then create an account. From there, you can either download Markup Hero to your desktop or get the Google Chrome extension, which is what we are going to use today. All right, so let's look at a couple different ways that we can use Markup Hero. So I'm going to start with uploading an image. You can upload an image or a PDF. We also can do screenshots of web pages or links, and I'll show you that next. But first, we're going to start with an image. So I'm just going to grab a clock worksheet. I wanted to start with a worksheet because Markup Hero isn't just a screenshot tool. It's great for just adding annotations over the top of PDFs or images. So let's take a look at some of these. We've got the markup tools up here. You can see the variety of tools that you have available to you. Above this line are the free tools that you can use with the free account, and below this line are the premium tools. So I want to start out with the highlighter because if I was presenting this to students, I would want to note right away that we're talking about whole hours. So I would highlight that, let's say in yellow, and I want to make it thicker. So I'm going to choose this thickness. And maybe as I'm presenting this, I just highlight whole hours. Remember, we're talking about whole hours. So I would ask the students, what does that mean for our minute hand? What is it always going to be pointing to? Okay, so kind of helping them out there, keeping this highlighted the whole time so they understand whole hours, our minute hand should not change, right? So there's the highlighter tool. The cool thing is once you put something, once you make a markup on a document, you can actually click on it and you can move it around if you need to. Now a highlight, we maybe don't need to move around, but these other tools you might see how we could move those around and it would be useful. But that's what's really cool too. They become clickable once they are on your document. So telling time, whole hours, we've highlighted that. I want to go up to here and let's use the arrow. The arrow would work really well with this because they are actual arrows when we draw in the minute hand and the hour hand. So right now, if I were to draw this, I'm going to get a large yellow arrow, right? And it's going to look really not good. Okay, so we don't want that big of an arrow. So what I can do, I can select it and I can change that thickness to a little bit smaller and then change it to where it needs to be. If I wanted to change the color, that would be fine too. I could do that. So I can leave that there. And I maybe want it a little bit smaller even. Okay, and of course, our minute hand should always stay at 12, like we talked about. And I'm going to bring in another arrow and draw our 1. So I could have students do this. They could come up and do this on their own. I could share this link as well, and they can annotate over top. The only thing is they do need an account to be able to annotate. So it might be easier when you're just trying this for the first time that students just come up and do this on your computer as the example, or maybe you're showing this as a presentation during your lesson and you are giving the example. Instead of arrows, we could use the pen tool, and I can just click and drag up. And of course, that's a really bad arrow. So I'm going to click on it and delete it, which you definitely can do. I'm going to try again, see if I can get a little straighter. I don't know if that was any better. And now it's 12 o'clock. So maybe I want to change my other arrow to this. And you're just going to have to be careful. I'm not going to be able to click right on top of this because it will think I'm selecting this. So I might even have to go to the side here. Oh, and that one I didn't change it to black. I was going to change that one to black. I'm going to select it and do black. And now we would talk with students about how the minute hand is longer, the hour hand is shorter, and we can see that really easily. So this is just a great way to be able to fill in this worksheet, whether the teacher is doing it or the students are coming up and doing it interactively. And then the other thing I want to draw attention to is that this was a 2-page PDF. It brought in both of those pages. And so I can go to this next page here, and this is the answer sheet. And a cool thing that I can do with this is I can use these rectangles, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle over it like this. And then I'm going to duplicate this one. So I'm going to do a Command C and then a Command V to paste, or Control V if you are on a Windows computer. I'm going to paste another one. And then I'm going to use my multi-select tool up here. And I'm going to click and drag over all of them and copy these 3. I am just creating these covers of the answers. So when I go through it with my students, I can reveal 1 clock at a time. So now if I go up and the students have completed their worksheet on their own, we can go through each clock on its own. So you see this box down here? This goes from outline to fill really easily. So we can say number 1, where is the minute hand pointing to? And they're all going to say 12, right? Because we talked about how we're only doing whole hours on this worksheet. So that should always be the answer. And where is our hour hand pointing? To the 1 for this one, 1 o'clock. And if I wanted, I could even make these like this. And so we could see this before that gets turned in there. And my on and off button is kind of covering over this answer at this time, but you can see how you could use this as a show hide for correcting work, which is pretty cool. So these squares are pretty fun. I like them for presentation for the teacher, or we could send out a link where students could toggle them back and forth. Maybe it's for vocab words where they're trying to remember the definition. And we have the vocab word over here, but the definition is behind this rectangle, right? And they can toggle between the two, outline and fill, to see the definition to know if they understand the vocab. So if they're studying for a test, you could use Markup Hero for that. So we've went through a couple different ways to use it on a PDF. I want to share with you now another way to use Markup Hero, and we're actually going to do a screenshot. So I'm going to go to my Google Classroom, and let's say I wanted to share a picture of why this is red and why this is yellow and why this is green. So what I can do is up here in our extensions, let's say I'm on the web page, which I'm here. If you do not see the Markup Hero icon, then you need to click on extensions right here and pin it. So if I'm ready for a screenshot, I've got my screen the way I want it, I can click on that and I can say screenshot. You're also going to notice that there are a lot of different other options for screenshots, which are really cool. The scrolling screenshot is actually going to scroll through the whole web page and take a long screenshot of it. The paginated one is going to make it into pages. The full screen of the desktop, that's not going to just be the internet browser. It's going to be your whole desktop. And then you do have the option just to grab a new markup and see your history. But we just want a regular screenshot. So I'm going to say screenshot. It's going to take the screenshot and then bring us to our editing options. So from here, I'm going to use the tool called callout. When I use it, I'm going to use red because I want it to match this color. Okay, so I'm going to click and then point my arrow to that red box. Now, if I click out of this, because it's expecting text, it's going to disappear. So if I click, it's going to disappear. It wants me to add text. So I'm going to try again, and I need to type right away. I don't need to click in that box again. And I'm going to say not accepting. This is telling my students that this accounting cycle, I am no longer accepting because it has that red square. And of course, I can click and move this around to make it look a little neater. Can get that a little bit nicer. And let's say I want this a little bit bigger. I can click and drag and just move it bigger. And then I'll have to move it back out. Or I could have went up here and changed this thickness as well, and it would have changed the size. So I'm going to do that. Now for these other two, I can go back up here and I can do another call out, or I can just copy these. And I'm just going to move it down and move this other arrow to the yellow. And of course, I want to change this one to yellow to match. And I'm going to say due soon. Yellow means due soon. Now you'll also notice that you have some other options here between the two. You can toggle depending upon what you like. And I'm going to paste one more of these. Bring it down here. By doing the copy and paste, I know that they are going to be the same look and the same size, so that's helpful. And I can say accepting. And I'm going to change that to green. And now what I've just created for my students is a guide to what these colors mean when they see their assignments in Google Classroom. So they will know that if it has a red in front of it, I'm not accepting it anymore. They cannot turn it in. This could also be late. I could have this as late where they can still turn it in, but there will be late points. I mean, that's up to you as a teacher, right? Due soon, that yellow, and then accepting this work, green. But what I want to do is I want to download this as a picture. So as a PNG or as a JPEG, and then I would post it to my Google Classroom. So then they see that picture, they see that key, and they understand what those colors mean. So you're going to be able to do this with any screenshot that you take. You're going to be able to grab that screenshot and mark it up just like we did, and then download it as a picture. The PDF is a premium feature. So with the free account, you can get it as a PNG or a JPEG. And so for this example, this wasn't one that we did in person with our students. This is one that the teacher created prior, and we created this resource or kind of this guide that we used as a picture for our students and posted it to Google Classroom so they understand. So this is great. Callouts are great for diagramming. There's so many different uses for all of these different tools. So I'm going to share one more quick one just so we can see one more way that it can be used. And we're going to use Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. And I want to show the scrolling screenshot. It's going to take a screenshot scrolling through the entire web page. And then when it finishes, it will bring us back to the editor. Once we are here, I like to go over and zoom in, use those features. Now there's so many different ways that we could approach how to teach this speech using Markup Hero. We could go through this together with our students, and we could be highlighting as we go. We could be circling things that need to be pointed out. We could be using our call out arrow. All of these things we could do to this speech as we go through it together with our students. We also could have a shareable link where they can come in and see our annotations with this option, public, or they could collaborate with us. And again, they will need an account, but this can be really powerful because we put the annotation tools in the hands of our students, and they tell us what they think is important from the speech. And maybe they have some questions about the speech. So maybe we invite our students to use the highlighter tool, and with red, they highlight things that they have questions about. And with green, they highlight really good points that Martin Luther King made. So we could definitely use this as a collaborative document, or we could just share the link so other people can see our annotations. So there are just a number of ways that you can use Markup Hero to enhance your lessons, to just make them interactive. and use those annotation tools not only for screenshots, but also for PDFs and images. So I hope I've given you enough examples to see if Markup Hero would work for you in your classroom. You know I love free EdTech tools for teachers. With Markup Hero, for the free account, you get 10 markups in 1 month. But that's just 10 markups that are live at any given time. So you could be marking something up, use it, and then delete it, and then it would free up another space. So 10 spaces in the month. And make sure to use the link in the description. Markup Hero has graciously sponsored this video. They've given you a special offer with that link. So make sure you start there if you're going to create an account. As always, if you've received value from this video, please like and subscribe and share with your teacher friends so they can use Markup Hero in their classroom as well. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and feel free to share the ways that you are going to use Markup Hero in your classroom.